Welcome everyone. My name is Fernando David, and what I am going to do in this video is I'm going to walk you through the process that I follow when analyzing a buy and hold property. As you can see by the screen, I'm using the BiggerPocket buy and hold calculator. You can find this calculator on BiggerPockets, and there are many others that you can use. But this is the one that I prefer to use, and it's the one that I'm most comfortable with. And before I begin, let me just go over some information. I've already analyzed this deal. I just want to show you the numbers and how I do it. But the address information here is not correct. So don't run out there looking for this address because it's fictitious. And I'm doing it mainly because we still haven't finished or closed on the property. And until I close on the property, I don't like to give the information out because I used to do that in the past, and I've had other investors undercut me by going in there and offering more money than I was willing to pay. But so this information on the top is fictitious. Now, from here on, from the property description on, it's correct. This is a triplex. It's a 2-1, a 1-1, and a 1-1, and the property is within walking distance to the beach, and it's also within walking distance to a state park. And you'll see why I really like this property. Purchase price of the property is going to be $350,000. The after repair value, and this is based on the comps that I've done in this area, it's $440,000. Now, the property in its current condition is really move-in ready. It just needs some updating, just cosmetic stuff. The roof is good, the plumbing's good, the electrical's good. Most of the stuff that we're going to be doing is cosmetic, except for the fact that I'm going to actually remodel the kitchens. But outside of that, everything else is just going to be paint and flooring and cosmetic stuff. So, as you can see, I put the purchase closing cost of $13,200, and that's based on 3% of the purchase price, which is what I normally pay for closing costs. And then it's going to be, I'm going to need approximately $20,000 to get the property rental ready for my standards, right? Now, one thing to keep in mind, when you're doing your repair cost, always add about 10% of whatever number you come up with. And if you haven't worked with a particular contractor in the past, I would probably add 20%, right? I have an in-house team that we do our own rehabs, so I know I have a better idea of what the property is going to, or what's going to cost to get it repaired and fixed to the way I want it. But even with that, I still add 10% to the cost because we always go over. Next, this is going to be a conventional loan. We're going to be putting 25% down. My lender has locked in my rate at 3.75. It's a 30-year mortgage. I do not put in any cap rates. I don't usually do that on small multi-units, and mainly because I'm a buy and hold investor. I don't care about the cap rates at this point, but that's just me. So the first thing I do is I check to see if this property cash flows as a long-term rental. Currently, the property is 100% occupied with renters. Now, one of the reasons why this deal is taking a long time is because I want the property empty. I don't like to take on properties that have tenants. Main reason is because A, I didn't vet the tenant, and B, I don't like to inherit other people's problems. So I rarely ever take a property that have tenants in place. But using their current rates, or using the current rental using the current rents that current owner is getting, he gets $1,600 for the 2-1, and he's getting $1,250 for 1-1-1, and he's getting $1,350 for the second. for a total of $4,200. Other monthly income, and if I were to do it as a long-term rental, I'll probably get an additional $150 a month, and this will be for pet fees. I prefer my tenants to have a pet, A, because I can charge them more, and B, usually, and it's been my experience that if a tenant has a pet, they have a tendency to stay in a property longer. That is not scientific. It's just been something that I've noticed. So I prefer tenants with pets, and I charge an extra $150 or $50 per pet per unit. So in this case, if each unit has at least one pet, I'm going to have a minimum of $150. Fixed landlord expenses, none of this applies for exception of my insurance. In this case, my insurance is going to cost me $200 a month, and it's going to cost me $150 for the landscaping. Vacancies, I like to set the vacancies up at 5%. Repairs, since we're going to be doing all the repairs prior to having tenants in, and that's included in my repair costs in the beginning. In this case, I only put 3% for CapEx. I set the management fee at 10%, even though we do our own management. But in the event in the future I want to let somebody else manage this, it'll be 10% of that. And then future assumptions, I have a tendency to be a little conservative here, so I like to put 2% annual expense gross. This one I go to 3%, and because I'm a realtor, I only incur a 3% expense if I were to sell the property. So those are the numbers that I like to use. Now I calculate to see what the result is. So, and here's why I like the property. Here's why I like the deal. So these are the numbers. You can go ahead and take a look at them. But here are the key numbers, right? Monthly cash flow. I'm going to cash flow $1,300 a month. That for me, that's good, right? I usually like to cash flow at least $200 per unit. And in this case, there's 3 units. So $600 would have been great, and I would have moved on the deal, at $600. But it's a bonus. I'm getting $1,300 a month in cash flow. My cash-on-cash return for, in this case, we're looking at a projected total cost of $120,000. So my cash-on-cash return is almost 13%, 12.95. Very good return. I usually, in this case, I like to get at least 10% cash-on-cash return, but 12%, again, it's a bonus for me. Here are the numbers, and here's another thing that I like to mention that I do, and I don't know if others do the same, but the vacancy, the CapEx, and the repairs, these are the numbers that I'm going to be saving monthly as the rents come in. In the event I have a vacancy, or the event I have a major repair, or a major repair, or any minor repairs, I keep that aside. But I do that until I have $10,000 in reserves. Once I hit the $10,000 mark in reserves, then what I do is this extra income, right? This extra income there. What I do is, once I hit that $10,000 mark, I no longer put money in reserves. I take that money and I put it back into the mortgage. I put it into the mortgage pay down. Here's some other over time. Here's some of the numbers that I like to see. So, for example, I always look at the 5-year mark. What's going to be my cash return? If my numbers are correct, I'm looking at 14%. And if I have to sell, I'm looking at making a profit of $196,000 in 5 years. But I normally I'm a buy and hold investor, so I don't usually sell my properties. Usually I sell them within the right after the 15-year mark. I may or may not sell, but I like to look at this number. And in this case, I'm looking at a 17% cash-on-cash return. And if I were to sell, I'm looking at over $500,000 in profit, which for a 15-year investment, I think that's phenomenal. So as you can see, this is why I like this property. This is why we're going forward. But I'm going to do an edit because, as everyone knows, or if you're new to the channel, I am a buy and hold investor for vacation rentals. So I'm going to change the numbers, and I'm going to do the numbers as a vacation rental. The initial numbers all stay the same. Nothing changes here. Oh, let me address this part too. Part of this number here is furnishing the property. So in my long-term numbers, they're actually better because I don't need $20,000 to do it, because if I'm going to do a long-term deal, I don't need to furnish the units, but I am furnishing the units because I am going to do it as a vacation rental. The property is near a beach, near a park. It's in a very good neighborhood, so I will do that. So here are the numbers. Gross rents, right? Gross rents. And based on what I believe and based on my experience, what I'm going to be making on this property, you're looking at $6,800 in gross rents or gross daily rates. But in addition to that, we also monetize each guest by providing either extra cleaning services, concierge services, airport pickup, and there's a list of stuff that we do for our guests that we try to monetize. So we're looking at an additional $1,000 a month in extra services. And I take this back, it's actually 62 is what we're looking at, right? Now you can break it down per unit, but that's just the total. I'm not going to break it down. But now we have extra expenses. So because it is, we are paying for the electric bill, the water, etc. So in this case, the electric bill based on our other 3 units that we have, we're looking at $450. Water is going to be $400. Insurance is going to go up because we're going to get an additional a higher insurance policy. It's going to be $250. Our monthly expenses stay the same. That stays the same. This is going to go up because we usually have a 90% occupancy rate. So I'm going to do 10% there. Everything else stays the same. Nothing else changes, right? So now we're going to calculate that. Now we're going to see what our numbers look like. So now, based on those numbers, and again, these are conservative numbers. I believe we're going to make more on this, and especially after the first year, because if for those that don't know, vacation rentals, they tend to generate more money as time goes on, meaning time on the market. A brand new unit that's on the market will generate less money because it has less review. It's not as proven, and the platforms won't push it forward, so they have a tendency to make less money. But with time, they make more. And some actually, within 2 or 3 years, if they have good ratings and good reviews, can actually make twice as much as they do the first year. So, conservatively, I'm looking to cash flow $2,300 a month, and my cash on cash return now is 23%, which for me, that's phenomenal. Again, numbers kind of stay the same, except the vacancy. I'm going to be taking out more money for vacancy. I'm taking out more money for capex and for repairs. So we generate more money there because we're grossing more. So we hit that here's what's important here. We're going to hit that $10,000 mark much quicker as a vacation rental, which means that we're going to be doing the mortgage pay down faster, right? Again, these are the numbers. These are the projections again. And again, here's the difference in that 15-year mark. As I stated before, if you remember, we're looking at if we were to sell at that 15-year mark and riding the market, and you can't time the market, but let's assume the market stays stable, and at the time we decide to sell, we're going to sell at a seller's market. And again, these are hypothetical numbers, don't kill me, but in the long-term scenario, we're looking at $500,000, but in the short-term scenario, we're looking at $757,000 in profit if I were to sell in that 15-year mark. So this is why I like investing in vacation rentals. This is why I've made a great living doing so. If you have any questions on this or any other property or any questions related to investing, just let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.